Sunday at St Andrew's Anglican Church, and these Christians have more than their faith in common.
Holy God, holy and strong, holy and immortal.
This is a service that welcomes diversity.
The whole congregation is open to all forms of sexuality, so there are some straight people as well, but largely it is the LGBTIQ community.
It's the only congregation of its kind in WA, set up 20 years ago in the midst of the AIDS crisis. It's still seen as a safe haven. The plebiscite debate isn't making it any easier to be gay and Christian.
I think it's incredibly difficult because it's almost like you're in the two opposing camps.
I'm often afraid to tell my friends, particularly in the queer community, that I'm Christian, because they're like, oh, but don't you hate yourself, if you're Christian and gay? And I'm like, no, I do not. And I support gay marriage and I support equal rights and all that sort of stuff because I believe that God is about love, not about hate.
For Susie and Samantha Day Davies, who were both Christians when they met each other 5 years ago, this church has special significance.
We always knew Father Peter would be willing to marry us, but when we said we're ready to do this, we're ready to actually go through with the wedding now, he said, yep, when do you want to do it?
It was the most amazingly wonderful celebration. Gays, lesbians, transgender people just celebrating. It was just beautiful.
This old love will never die.
The official ceremony was at the British Consulate in Perth. The couple were able to be married there because Samantha is a dual citizen. Father Peter Manuel was only able to bless their union, but hopes same-sex marriage becomes law within his lifetime.
I think if we get away from the idea that the ideal family is mum and dad and a couple of kids with a dog and a cat, we have the opportunity to talk about what makes a good relationship. And the church has the opportunity to learn something more.
You don't knock,
you just walk on in.
The door
to heaven's swing.
There's love.
Peter Manuel's not a lone voice in the Anglican Church, but many clergy disagree. The largest Anglican diocese in Sydney is part of a coalition that will run the No campaign if there's a plebiscite.
Taking gender out of marriage and therefore gender out of parenting, it causes other things to come into focus, such as the so-called Safe Schools program, where it teaches children genderless sex education.
Lyle Shelton of the Canberra-based Australian Christian Lobby is a vocal critic on same-sex marriage.
We're not a peak body for the denominations, but we do have terrific relationships with the leaders of the leading Christian denominations in this country, and they are very supportive of wanting to preserve the definition of marriage and have been very active in this campaign. It really is something that has united the church across this country.
But Father Peter Manuel says the ACL doesn't represent all Christians.
They have a view of Christianity I don't agree with. I think they are promoting a view of Christian faith that is diametrically opposite to what I believe Christian faith is. I think they have, for me, an unnuanced view of the Bible.
Well, some people will say that, but there are timeless truths in the Bible, particularly when it comes to marriage and family and many other issues, and these are held to by people who hold to Orthodox Christianity, and that is the leaders of all of the denominations in Australia.
Lamentations is all about the experience of being in pain, and it just doesn't go away from it.
Peter Manuel's father was also the priest at St Andrew's. He says it's taken him many years to arrive at his current position on same-sex marriage.
When I was a teenager, my sister brought home to our conservative immigrant family a man 13 years older who had been married before and had children, a son, and who was a transvestite. And my conservative Indian and Armenian parents actually, and our whole family, just expanded to bring him into our family. So I grew up not seeing sexuality and sexual expression, or gender expression, as being constituent of a person's worth.
Although married at the British consulate, Susie and Samantha's marriage isn't recognised on Australian soil.
The interesting thing is we can't actually legally get divorced.
Yeah, that is going to be a problem.
I hope not.
Well, I hope not either.
They hope the plebiscite idea will be shelved in favour of a parliamentary vote.
Yes, we are mature enough to have a conversation, but I think it's ridiculous that we have to have this. I just think it's ridiculous. You get straight couples who get married, they don't have to ask the whole country if they can get married, so why should we?
So the Parliament has said no to this over and over again, and it keeps coming back all the time. And I think it's only fair now that it does go to the Australian people.
Father Peter Manuel will make his views clear at Western Australia's Gay Pride March in November, marching with other Christians in support of gay marriage.
We want to say to all of you, we support you and we think God does too.